Daniel here for Tabletop for One and my 10 after 10 solo review of power plants. Yeah, thank you for joining me today. And so I'm going to talk to you about Power Plants, which is designed by Adam E. Daulton and published by Kids Table Board Games. And Power Plants is an abstract area control game where you're placing tiles out in the field, adding sprites of your color to the board, trying to control and grow the garden as best as you can and get the most points. And in the solo mode, you're fighting against the mole AI character and trying to beat him out for all the points and control of the garden. And so after 10 plays, I have 10 takeaways, and we'll start off with number 1, the gameplay. And so the gameplay in Power Plants is very simple. You're going to have tiles that you've drawn in front of you. You're going to choose one of them and place them on the board, and you're going to activate either the growth or the sprout option of the tiles. And the growth and sprout option are 2 options for each of the different kinds of tiles. And you choose which one you think will best benefit you and maybe be to the detriment of your opponent. Sometimes they allow you to place sprites on the board. Sometimes they allow you to capture sprites. Other times they allow you to take over tiles that the AI player has taken. Sometimes they'll let you move them around on the board. Does all sorts of things. There's quite a few different powers. And there's a lot of really good decision making in each of those choices. And so for number 2, let's talk about the learning of the game. See, here's one of the problems I have with the game. It's not a huge one, but it may be to the detriment of some players. So in this game, you have to learn a whole bunch of different powers for the different plants. That's not so bad, but however, the mole's powers, while similar to your powers of the same kind of plant tile, are different. And so you have to not only memorize your powers, but memorize the AI's powers as well. Now, of course, you have the powers in front of you to look at and reference. You have the AI cheat sheet to reference. But if you can't memorize those, you're constantly looking back and forth and trying to figure out what to do in those given moments. On top of that, there's an AI priority chart. Actually, 2 AI priority charts that you have to learn as well. Again, you're probably going to have that sheet in front of you for most of the game for the first 5 games. But I will talk about later some ways to make that easier for your play. And so that's going to lean right into number 3, the ease of solo play. Now, the game is actually really simple to implement after you've memorized those powers. Once you've gone down that road, it's really quick. We're talking 20-25 minute games. I think my playthrough was less than 30 minutes. It might have been a little bit more, but it goes real quick, and you're able to go from your turn to the AI turn and back to your turn very quickly. The powers themselves make sense. The icons on the cards are very good and tell you exactly what to do and how to do it. It's very streamlined, very fun. So it's not too hard, again, once you've memorized it. And with that, let's go to number 4, and we're going to talk about my recommended setup for the game. And so in my recommended setup, I would ask that you go off of the setup that I have in my playthrough. You'll find the link to my playthrough down below. But in my recommended setup, I recommend the Tanglethorn, the Honey Leaf, the Wing Bean, the Starflower, and the Snapjaw. I recommend you do those 5 first, and then I recommend you play 5 games in a row. This is really going to get you used to the game. You're going to play the same kind of powers, learn those powers very well, learn the AI powers very well. It'll get you used to the rhythm of the game. Again, it's a quick game, so it shouldn't take too long for you to knock out those 5 plays, but it'll help you ease into learning the game and learning the other powers when they get added in, depending on your setup. And so on to number 5, I'm going to talk about tiles not used. So there are 2 plant tiles that you're never going to use in the solo mode. That may be a deal breaker for some. It's not a huge problem for me, but it is a kind of a disappointment that maybe those powers weren't changed in some way to make it so you could use them in solo play. I get why they're not used. They make sense in a multiplayer setting. However, like I said, it would be nice to have them available as additional powers, just extra solo powers for the solo game. So it's just a minor nitpick, but just something to take note. And so with that in mind, let's talk about number 6, the replayability. Now the replayability in this game is actually quite huge. All right, I've played it over 10 times, I think a dozen times now. And the games play differently every time. Even when you play those 5 intro games like I suggested, they will be different every time. They will play out differently. The AI will score differently because your choices will be different. The tiles that come out of the bag and are available will change how you approach each game. And then toss in the fact that there are 3 other powers other than the 5 I mentioned that you can use in the mix of the game. And you're going to have a huge amount of replayability, a lot of interesting choices, definitely more than you realize from the get-go. And so for number 7, let's talk about the rulebook. The rulebook is actually quite simple. I mean, look how thin this is. There's only a few pages in the rulebook. The examples, as you can see on this page here, give very good picture examples on how to do the different powers, the grow powers and the sprout powers. Really does a good job. It's really quite clear. A lot of good information in the rulebook. Very happy with it. Don't have any issues with the rulebook at all. However, with number 8, we're going to talk a little bit about the ambiguity. So there's some things with the AI that are kind of a little bit ambiguous. And even sometimes it makes you wonder, should I be playing it this way? Some of the priorities of the AI actually feel like it puts the AI to a disadvantage at times. And maybe that's a balancing thing. I've always played it on the side of the AI is better and it's going to do a better job in that situation. So that's the way I play it, and that's the way I recommend you play it in those situations. The AI is tough to beat, not impossible to beat, and I think playing it that way makes it feel more like an actual opponent. And so for number 9 and 10, I'm going to be talking about the deluxe edition of the game. So I apologize if you have the retail edition, or if you're only able to get the retail edition, this may not apply. But there are some things about the retail edition I'll mention here. So for number 9, I'm going to talk about the Sprite Tokens. Now the Sprite Tokens are these nice little wooden meeples, or Sprite bowls, or whatever. They're all different colors and different shapes for each color. That is a particular difficulty for me with my vision. It really makes me hard to read the field with the different shapes. If they were all the same shape, it'd be much easier. But some of the colors blend in with the tiles, and the shapes make it hard to count them rather easily. And when I've seen the pictures of the retail copy, I can't help but wish I had wooden cubes. Cubes are much easier to read on a field like this, and I think I would have preferred them over that. That being said, we'll go to number 10, and the deluxe tiles, the wooden tiles, sorry, I just threw it. The clickety-clack that these make in the bag, the way they look, the shine, the screen printing, everything about them, I love them. Absolutely love them. Would not trade them for cardboard replacements. These are fantastic. Glad I have them. And then if you see this mat, I think the mat was an add-on. But, oh my gosh, it's fantastic. It's beautiful, looks great on the table. I know I'm a solo player. I'm not impressing anybody but myself. But I do love deluxe components when they add something. They add something to the experience. They really do. So I'm very happy about those components there. And so with all that, I'm going to give a final score to Power Plants of an 8.0 out of 10. I absolutely love this game despite some of the things that I might dislike. Once you memorize the powers, and once you're able to read the field better and get used to how everything works, this game is fantastic. I love abstract games. I love what they did with this. I love the fact that it's an area control game that can be played solo, and it's done very well. I'm very happy with it, and I highly recommend it. I don't know about the retail edition and how it feels, looks, plays, but the deluxe edition is a fantastic experience for me. And so I thank you very much for watching my 10 after 10 review of Power Plants. Please ask me any questions in the comments below and let me know what you think of the game. Please also like and subscribe to this channel if you like the content you see here. And I thank you very much for watching Tabletop for One, and have a great night.